Extreme snowfall and extreme cold are about to impact up to 100 million people in the United States. What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. All right, so here's the situation we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. We have quite a bit to discuss with you guys for today. We have quite a few Clipper systems moving through parts of the U.S., and then an insane Arctic blast is going to be going all the way down to Florida around the end of this week, and it's going to be impacting a lot of people. Up to 100 million plus people are expected to be impacted by these extreme cold temperatures. So we have a lot to talk about today. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive right into it right here. Starting off, we're going to start with the North American model. We're going to be talking the snowfall and then get to the temperatures shortly after that. So here's what we have for the North American model. We have a Clipper system currently moving through parts of the Great Lakes region going into the northeastern United States. Not too much is going to come out of that if you're already in the Great Lakes, like Michigan, Wisconsin, going into Ohio and Pennsylvania, although some lake effect snow is plausible with this. And then you have another snow system that's going to start developing and moving through parts of the Midwest right after this. So this is Thursday going into Friday right here for much of Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, going all the way down to Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia as well. That's a pretty southerly Alberta Clipper type system that's going to be moving through, kind of dissipates and fizzles a little bit. And then as we get to Saturday, we have another system moving through parts of the U.S. We're going to want to pay attention to that or take that pretty seriously. We're seeing snow system after snow system after snow system, and we kind of talked about that a little bit last week, and we were talking about how we were going to be seeing Alberta Clipper after Alberta Clipper, and it doesn't seem like we're going to see that much snowfall from each individual system, but it's going to be rather more snow accumulating in several systems. So these 3 to 5 inches that might be happening over and over and over and over again, literally 2 to 3 days apart from each other. So just as soon as you're done cleaning up from the previous snow system, now you're cleaning up from another one that's coming right on top of that. Another one's just going to completely erase the work you've done. And taking a look at the snow accumulation, we're going to go ahead and talk about this real quickly, zooming into the Midwest right here. From all 3 of these Clipper systems, we're looking at potentially, according to the North American model, up to a foot of snow in parts of Peoria, just outside of Chicago. As well, you're looking at 3 to 5 inches, Northwest Indiana, 5 to 7 as well. You're going to want to take that very seriously. The first system that's going to be moving in through tomorrow into Friday is going to probably throw about 3.5 to 4 inches of snow on the ground. The second one is going to move in and really starts to add up to the snow totals right here, at least for central Illinois into Iowa. Up to 8 inches of snow is possible for this system right here, and you're going to want to take that very seriously. This is only a few days out, so you're going to want to pay attention to that going down the line. You're going to want to keep an eye on it. You're going to want to watch how this will evolve, and we'll keep you updated here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. But another thing we need to talk about is the temperature. This weekend is the start of our Arctic blast that's going to be moving through parts of the United States, and we're going to go ahead and show the GFS just to kind of talk about this. We're going to extensively be talking about the temperature today. We're going to be talking about just how far south these temperatures are going to go, because I think that's arguably more important right now because this is going to be impacting so many people. So here's what we have right here. We have cold air moving through parts of the U.S. going into Thursday, going into Friday, and then going into Saturday. You are already seeing really cold temperatures. Saturday morning, minus 30 looking like in parts of Minnesota right here. This isn't the wind chill or anything like that. This is minus 30 degrees with probably 3 to 5 knots of wind shear. Not going to really do that much in terms of wind shear, but my goodness. And it only gets better from here because it keeps diving further and further and further to the south. And by Monday morning, this is Monday morning, we have temperatures extreme cold going all the way from the Dakotas all the way down as far south as North Carolina. Wow. And this isn't just one isolated area. It keeps going all the way down. The freezing line goes all the way down to Florida and all the way to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. a lot of people are going to be impacted by this. The Midwest is going to get the hardest hit. The New England, especially in the mountains, is going to get the hardest hit as well. But my goodness, this is just far-reaching, and it only continues from there. This is what we got by Tuesday morning as well, still going pretty extensively. It's not as bad as it was Sunday or Monday, but it's pretty extreme to say the very least right here. And the reason I bring this map up, and we're going to go ahead and go back to this, is if you are in the Midwest, if you are in the Deep South, you need to take these temperatures very, very seriously. Because on top of the snowfall we might be seeing, this is actually coming right after that snow system develops on Saturday and moves through parts of the Midwest. That snow is going to stay there for quite some time. I know in a lot of areas the temperatures above freezing, the snow has been melting. In this instance, it's not going to be snowing and then just melt after a couple of days. No, it's going to be staying there for an extended period of time, and you're going to want to take that very, very seriously. And on top of that, we also need to watch our snow systems as well. Let's go ahead and pull up the GEM GDPS in terms of our snowfall potential for a lot of these areas. Let's go ahead and do that. Right here, moving through much of the Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic is that one snow system that exits out of New England. And then going into Monday, there's not too much going on other than the Great Lakes because of the Arctic cold. There's going to be a very big high-pressure system that's going to really inhibit some snowfall outside of the Great Lakes. Going into Tuesday and Wednesday, you start seeing potential snowfall starting to happen, but it is a bit wonky. I will say this is the GEM GDPS. It's not the most realistic and reliable model. Right here, for example, it converts all of this from rain to snow when the heights are just considerably above 5,400 at this point. So you need to take that with a massive grain of sodium chloride right here. This is forecasting snow squalls to move through Illinois into Indiana and Ohio. Like, it's kind of like a severe weather setup, to be honest. That's kind of how ridiculous the GEM GDPS is going. But I'm not trusting it. I don't like how this initialized. I'll still keep you updated on it. I want to see what the 12Z is showing. It's not quite out just yet, but we'll definitely see how that pans out as well. But we'll go ahead now and move back to the GFS just to kind of give you that extended period right here. So here's what we got for you right now. GFS has the system starting to get its act together. We start seeing a little bit more snow moving through parts of the Midwest, mainly rain for parts of the Great Lakes for some of the region right here. But then as we get to the 19th and the 20th, things start to calm down a little bit more. It's mainly going to be the Arctic temperatures that are going to be interesting and see what happens. But then as we get to the 22nd, we might have something developing. We do have a pretty powerful Colorado low, according to the GFS, developing around the 23rd of December right here. That could really bring some impacts right in time for Christmas for Chicago, Milwaukee, Michigan, a lot of those areas as well. Keep in mind, this is, at this point, 300 plus hours out. This is fantasy land from the GFS, so take it with a massive grain of salt, and we'll keep you updated on it here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. But still, quite an active pattern for the rest of December, and when it's not snowing, it's going to be extremely cold as well. Here's the cold temperatures that we were talking about. Kind of showed you what we were seeing previously. Those temperatures and those blasts continue through much of the Midwest and northeastern United States right here, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Right here, things really start to get cool down right in time for Christmas right here, and it's the start of another blast that's moving through right here. But because this is over 300 plus hours out, the GFS variability is considerably high. And I want to also, just for context, check the European temperatures to see kind of how those reflect as well. Quite a bit of a different story right here. For the European. Let's go ahead and show you that. You have this major Arctic blast moving through much of the U.S. right here, going all the way down to Florida, and then it starts to recede a little bit more, and then you have another blast that moves through parts of the United States on the 20th right here, brings some colder temperatures as well, particularly in the upper Midwest. And then as we get to the 22nd, it mainly calms down a little bit, but then as we get to the 25th, you do start to see some more cold temperatures moving through parts of the U.S., and we're going to want to pay attention to this, and we're going to want to take this super seriously. Total snow accumulation at that time, according to the European, this is in the next 15 days, mainly concentrated once again in the Midwest and the New England and northeastern United States right here, but still up to a foot of snow across much of the United States and much of the Midwest is possible with those clipper and those snow systems that are going to develop. The Great Lakes region is definitely going to want to pay attention to this because we're going to still see pretty significant lake effect snow moving through much of the region right here. And we're going to want to watch out for that. And we're going to want to keep a very close eye on that. It's not just Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, or even Lake Huron. It's also Lake Erie as well. You're looking at, let's go ahead and zoom in on this real quickly. You're looking at temperatures, not necessarily temperatures, but snowfall, potentially up to 2 feet of snow for parts of Lake Erie in Pennsylvania and New York, Lake Ontario, up to 43 inches in one spot in the upper elevations for Lake Ontario in that part of New York as well. And you're seeing a lot of snowfall possible in the Montreal region, in Quebec, in Toronto as well, looking at Maine as well. The mountain regions really get hammered with snowfall, so you're going to want to take that super seriously. Also seeing some more mountain snow in this part of the United States as well that we're going to want to pay attention to moving forward. Last thing we need to go ahead and show you is show you the long range forecast right here. We're going to be making an extended time talking about this, and then if we have time at the end, we'll talk about maybe the more so the severe weather aspect of this, because I know I haven't covered this as much, but we'll talk about this and then the potential severe weather aspect of this, just to kind of give you an idea of what we may be looking at and what the parameters could lead to. So here's what we have for the CFS. This is for December 10th right here. You have this Arctic blast moving through parts of the U.S. right here. You have that cold front, and then you have another very massive one moving through to the 14th and the 15th and the 16th as well, and it really brings cold temperatures all the way down to Florida. We showed you that with the European, the GFS runs as well, going to the 16th. Then you start to see more of a ridge pattern and more warmer temperatures across much of the U.S., especially in the deep south as well. That could potentially enhance some severe weather if you start seeing some more systems developing. Then as we get to the 20th, you have colder temperatures starting to take over parts of the Midwest again, and then you have another Arctic blast scenario moving through parts of the United States. Look at this. This is Christmas Eve for you guys right here. Christmas Eve, what we're seeing is pretty cold temperatures diving into parts of the Great Plains and the Midwest. Then as we get to Christmas, you kind of have that dividing line where it's either kind of cold and really cold or really warm over here that you're going to want to keep an eye on. And then as we get to the 26th, you have a pretty big plunge thanks to a trough that really ramps up and moves through parts of the Midwest. Cold temperatures as far south as Texas, according to the CFS climate run right here, that you're going to want to pay attention to. That starts to move out of the U.S. And then you have another blast right in time for the new year right here. The CFS is forecasting a pretty significant Arctic blast, not just for the Midwest, but going as far south as Texas in the U.S.-Mexico border. That is something we're going to want to pay attention to and take very seriously as we get to the new year. And then starting off the new year, the CFS is forecasting extreme cold going all the way from North Dakota all the way from Montana as far south as Louisiana. That could potentially impact 1 to 150 million people right there, and that's another cold blast. And look at how cold these temperatures get. Moving on. At 8:50, we're looking at these temperatures going as far below as minus 22 Celsius. There are some mountains in the Appalachian region that are at about 850 millibars right here. So that would be quite concerning, considering this is a huge blast that impacts not just the eastern half, but the entire U.S. outside of California right here, including the mountain regions as well. And then you have another a big cold wave that starts to move through the upper Midwest. It does start to warm up a little bit as you get into January, and then as you get towards mid-January, once again, it starts to get a bit more up in the air, and that's what we're dealing with the CFS run. This is quite the scenario that we are dealing with right here, and we're going to want to keep you updated on this. But my goodness, at least through the end of December, if it's not going to be snowfall, it's going to be cold. If it's not going to be cold, it's going to be snow. That's the main theme that we have for the rest of the month. January is a little early, but the early indications are pretty concerning, and we're looking at potentially an Arctic blast to start the year, and then after that, we don't know entirely what we may be seeing. But things are starting to ramp up, and things continue to ramp up as we continue to move through the winter season. I will continue to keep you updated on the Pat's Path Predictor channel as we continue to watch that. But I also want to pay attention to the severe weather aspect of it as well. Let's go ahead and start with going to the Storm Prediction Center real quickly. I want to go ahead and pull that up. Here's the SPC for you guys right here. We're not really seeing very many thunderstorms forecasted. Yeah, we're not going to see that much throughout the next few days, but I do want to pay attention to long-term trends with this right here. I want to at least look at the Cape and the supercell composite, at least long-term, just to kind of show you what we may be seeing. But here's what we have for the CFS right here. It's not the most realistic run. I'll have to use more mesoscale and models compared to the CFS, like the Euro, like the NAM, the HER, to kind of give a closer look at it, but you do have some potential happening at least after Christmas. By the time we get to the 22nd and 23rd, you have some Cape starting to build up right here. And then by the 26th of December right here, you do have about 2,300 joules per kilogram of Cape. How is that going to convert down to supercell composite? Pretty significant supercell composite already across much of the deep south right here. This is their severe weather season, mind you, so you're going to want to pay attention to that. But Arctic cold is what's mainly going to be kind of suppressing the severe weather season. We're not going to be particularly seeing that much severe weather throughout the month of December, and the reason for that is mainly because it's just too cold for it. Yes, you're seeing a lot of activity, but those are mainly winter storms and not severe storms. You're just seeing your temperatures are just too cold at this current point to really generate much severe convection. We'll keep you updated and we'll monitor it, but by and large, as we get to especially early January, we could start to see some stuff pop up, but by that point, it's way too early to indicate what severe weather may be doing. We can't forecast a severe weather outbreak a month in advance. We don't have that technology yet. I hope we get it, but it's probably not going to take it. It's probably going to take at least 50 years to get that. But the point I'm trying to make is we have quite a bit to watch out for, and we kind of are dealing with a little bit of everything type of threat right here. I mean, I can go ahead and show you this. We're dealing with snow system after snow system after snow system after snow system, Arctic blast after Arctic blast after Arctic blast after Arctic blast, just trough after trough after trough, and even in the upper levels as well. Just looking at this right here, you're just seeing how active this is. You have a pretty big trough digging down right now. You're going to have another trough digging down shortly after that as well. And then you have a bit of a ridge pattern that builds up. And then you have another trough, a really big trough going in on the 19th across parts of the Midwest. That's going to bring your temperatures down. But overall, it's just going to be super cold. And then just in time for Christmas, you have another shortwave trough starting to build up right here and potentially bring some more weather for a lot of the region as well. So just overall, a lot of things continue to pan out right here. We're going to want to pay attention to it, and we're going to want to keep you updated on things as well. But my goodness, it's one of those scenarios where where you're going to want to watch out for it, but at the same time, it's another one of those scenarios that may not seem like a lot's happening, but that's because there are multiple of these happening. Like we have, for example, I'm going to say this right now, for a lot of people in the Midwest, 3 to 5 inches of snow may not seem like much, but when you plow all that snow and then another 3 to 5 inches falls 2 days later, that's going to cause a lot of problems, especially to the regions that just salted it, that just cleaned it all up. And there are some regions that may not even have time to be able to take care of that and be able to get that done as quick. So that's another thing to pay attention to. We all saw what happened earlier this month on the 1st of December, where you had snowfall come through much of the Midwest much earlier than anticipated, and it caused a lot of accidents. It caused pretty much the entire Midwest to shut down, and we all saw how that panned out. And that's going to be a very interesting situation, just to kind of show you that. And the NWS definitely missed the mark with that. They've apologized for that. But ultimately, the thing that we need to watch out for, the thing we need to kind of emphasize is you need to be prepared. We'll keep you updated. And if things start developing a little bit earlier, we need to be more on the mark with that, just because of how unpredictable the start of the season has been. We saw an overperformance of snowfall occurring in late November. It was the November 29th to 30th system. We saw a pretty significant overperformance from that. We saw an overperformance on the December 1st storm. Just keep watching it. We'll pay attention to it for you guys right here. and we'll keep you updated here on the Pat's Path Predictor channel. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close the video out right here. I really hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. The goal, as always, is to get more people engaged with weather. If you'd like to help out, hang out, or ask us some questions, feel free to join the Storms Unite Discord server. We're trying to build up a winter weather team, so if you'd like to be a part of that, feel free to join the Discord server. The link to that will be in the end screen. Screw the Burger King commercials once again. They are absolutely cringe. I don't understand why people like them. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a good day, and I hope you guys stay weather aware. And as always, stay safe.